Hello, everybody, and welcome to class. I am your instructor, Jess Smith, and today we're going to be talking about shamanic healing tools, or shamanic tools for healing. So let's get right into it. Let me share my screen. And I want to thank everybody for coming in during the live class. I apologize that class did not film or record. So normally this would have been a recording of our conversation with all the richness that it had. But unfortunately, my laptop didn't record it. It was the end of Mercury retrograde, so it is what it is. So I'm here to record for you again, and I want to thank you for your patience in getting this replay out for you guys, especially for those of you who came in a little bit late perhaps, or who maybe didn't get to log in during the live session, but have been wanting to watch this replay for some time. I just want to thank you for your patience. So let's get into it. Shamanic tools for healing. Just before we begin, I'll give you an introduction of myself. If this is the first time you are meeting me virtually. So I've been teaching for over 10 years. I've taught subjects from English, math, science, to government, history, art, and now yoga and meditating, and the healing arts is really what I'm passionate about. So I've been practicing these ancient methods for healing for over 10 years, since I was about 22 years old. And I've been sharing these methods for about 3 years, since 2017, when I got certified as a yoga instructor. And I also have a bachelor's, and I studied my master's in English and comparative literature. So I have a broad spectrum of knowledge when it comes to different texts, whether they be classical, romantic, modern, and of course, ancient texts, which is what I love to study the most. So if you're interested in checking out my services, you can go to www.theuplife.com, and the link is right there for you. Let's get into it. I hope that you do join me on this movement towards higher vibrations. This is why I started this company, The Up Life, with my husband, inspired by, excuse me, it's still the morning for me, inspired by one of my children who is really into otherworldly things. And his inquiries about what the good life is, the up life, and what the down life is really inspired me to think about ways to help other people get out of what we were calling the down life and into this up life where everything goes your way and everything flows to you. Okay, and we teach that as well. So what is shamanism, or what does shamanic mean? Well, first and foremost, a shaman is a person who has access to the different worlds, the different realms that we cannot see with these eyes, but that we can see with this eye. And we'll talk about the third eye in a minute. So in other words, it's somebody who is psychic, or who's clairvoyant, clairaudient, intuitive, or even empathic, somebody who can feel people's emotions, is generally somebody who may be a shaman, or maybe perhaps in their past life, and maybe they're rediscovering it in this life. And maybe you're rediscovering your shamanic talents and your aptitude for healing others. And maybe that's why you're here and you want to cultivate those skills. And if that's the case, I really hope that you go along that path and be persistent. What it's going to take is the self to heal first. As shamans, we are human just as the people we're helping. And it's our goal to heal ourselves in this journey of our life so that we can expand our knowledge and our energy and love, and then go out and spread that and share that with others. So that's what we're doing here, is we're not learning tools necessarily to be used on others, but we're learning tools to help ourselves heal from traumas from childhood or past relationships, or maybe traumas that just recently happened. Okay, I use these myself. If you know anything about my story, you know that I've had a very traumatic childhood. I won't get into that right now. There's plenty of videos out there on my YouTube channel. I believe I discuss all of that. But if you're ever interested and curious, go ahead and shoot me an email anytime. DM me on my Instagram. So, very important question before we learn these shamanic tools. is we need to understand how to meditate. So how are you in the art of meditation? Are you able to get your mind into a space where you're relaxed and you're calm and you're not thinking about the past or the future? Could you perhaps benefit from a little bit more practice in meditation? And the reason why I think this is so important to ask before we begin is because the techniques that I'm going to show you today require a level of meditative skill. It requires a level of imagination, and you have to be able to see in your mind. Close these eyes and look with this eye. And a lot of people have had, from what I've heard, a hard time being able to see in their head. And seeing in your head is really no different than what you would see when you daydream, or what you would see when you are thinking about the past or the future. You're literally seeing the imprint of those images in your mind. And the question is, are you able to create an image in your mind? Because if you're able to create an image in your mind, that imprints on your brain, just as actual life imprints on your brain as well. So this is very important. We want to be able to create our own imagery so that we can imprint it into our mind's eye. Now, if you need help with this and you're watching this video for the first time, this is the first time you're meeting me, this is the first time you're ever going to meditate, go ahead and just pause this video for now. It's going to be here on YouTube forever, hopefully. Go ahead and watch my 3 techniques to make meditating easy, because this will help you make meditating easy. It will help you to really calm your mind and get into the space which Deepak Chopra calls the gap, in which anything is possible. You tap into an ethereal realm, a realm that is not physical, a realm that you cannot see with these eyes. You tap into that spectrum. If you're familiar with the spectrum of sight, of this, of vision, you know that we only see about this much. But when you close your eyes and you relax your mind and you're in the present moment, you expand your vision using your third eye, your pineal gland. Now, go ahead and watch that if you're having trouble. If not, let's continue. I'll take a sip of my coffee because we're going to get right into 3 shamanic tools for healing. Let's get into it. I needed the coffee today. I'm in San Diego right now for my daughter's birthday. It's been a busy week building and staining fences, so thanks for your patience. So number 1, the first thing that we want to do before we get into all the other steps that I'm about to teach you is we want to ground ourselves, and we want to put a protective net around us. And not only will this protective net or pyramid, I like to envision it as a pyramid, keep us from absorbing things that we're not intending to absorb, or allowing things that we're not intending to allow into our energetic field. It will also help clear our energetic field of other people's energies, of whatever muck kind of, I see it as like sort of this dark mist that really doesn't serve us. It could be negative energy. It could be negative imagery. It could be some of the things that trigger your traumas within you. So before we go on to the other practices, which are drastically more, what's the word? Stronger is what I want to say. They're stronger, but they're more powerful. And this is equally just as powerful, but this is sort of setting the foundation for us to have a sacred space. Okay. So I invite you to sit comfortably as I guide you to visualize this pyramid in protection. Sit as comfortable as you can. Perhaps you're laying down and you're just listening to my voice. That's totally fine. Take a moment to adjust your body so that it doesn't need any attention during this time. And go ahead and place your right hand on your belly, right hand just below your belly button. and your left hand on your heart. Now take a deep breath in from your right hand all the way up to your left hand and fill your entire chest with air. Again, breathe in. One more time, deep breath in. Good. Now take a moment to listen to the sounds around you. Just listen to those sounds and allow those sounds to bring you into this present moment. And you breathe in and out. Now, in your mind's eye, imagine that you can see yourself sitting there in the space that you're in. Imagine a glowing ball of light coming in from inside your body and expanding that ball of light. Imagine that ball of light coming in from your body, and that light from your body is growing and it's expanding out. And so much so that it shapes a pyramid above you and below you. And all around you, this pyramid is forming. And the pyramid is on top and the pyramid is on bottom. So there's two pyramids, one pointing up towards the heavens and one pointing down towards the earth's core. And you breathe in and out. Now don't be ashamed if it's difficult at first to imagine this pyramid stretching from the core of your body out, with the tip of the pyramid pointing towards the heavens and the tip of the pyramid at the bottom pointing towards the earth. It's okay if the imagery doesn't show up right away, but we'll take a deep breath in and we'll continue to envision what those pyramids look like as best we can. And imagining that these pyramids, or perhaps right now it's just a net of light, your expanded light, clearing out your energy, clearing out your field of any debris, any energetic attachments that don't serve you anymore. And by that I mean things that don't serve your highest potential, things that are of low vibration, that are not of joy or gratitude. And so as we take a deep breath in and exhale those things out, imagine those dark, misty, dusty things just being blown out of your energetic field. Deep breath in and exhale out. Good. Now imagine at the base of your spine a cord emerging. And perhaps this cord is a fast-growing root growing down into the earth. Perhaps it's just a rope or any type of cord you like to imagine that's a beam of light, perhaps, going down into the earth, all the way down through the layers of the earth, through the mantle, through all the rock, through the magma, and all the way to the core of the earth, and wrapping around the core of the earth. Envisioning that cord going down through the earth and wrapping through the cord of the earth, or the core of the earth. And then following that cord back up to where you are, in this space and time, in the gap, in the present moment, where anything is possible. One more deep breath in, removing your hands and placing your hands at heart center in prayer position. And exhaling out. And we give thanks to our spirit guides, to our spirit animals, to our ancestors who are guiding us to our highest potential. We give thanks to you. And also we'd like to set the intention now to tap into our highest source of information, our most divine and most loving source of information, As we move through the next few practices, we ask that this connection remain even after these practices are done, so that we may receive clear and concise messages from the most divine and most loving place in the universe. Amen. And so it be. All right. Go ahead and stretch your body if you need to come back to me, and flutter your eyes open. Now, the reason why we envision as above, so below, we envision the pyramid as above and so below. Our energy field expands up above us, and it expands below us a few inches into the earth. So we want to give space for that, and we want to clear out our upper chakras as we clear out our lower chakras. And we also want to give those intentions to the different realms in which you might be entering. And I'll talk about the different realms in a minute when we get to our third tool. But for now, that's why we envision the pyramid going up above us and down below us. I also want you to have faith in your ability to set those intentions. In other words, have faith that when you're saying that prayer or that intention, and when you are actively, consciously clearing out your space in such a way that we did just now, that you are being effective in your intentions. You are being effective in your actions just now. So I want you to have faith every time you do this. Have faith, because even that little bit of doubt is going to create what I like to imagine is like this hole in your energetic field where things can come in and influence you. Things that perhaps don't have your highest source of information, things that perhaps don't have your highest potential in mind. So anytime you doubt yourself and your own abilities, you're potentially creating that space where you are allowing things to come in that may not have your best interest in mind. All right. So now that we have set our foundation, we've set our intentions, we've grounded ourselves and tied ourselves to the earth, and we've cleared out our energy. We've sent out energy that doesn't belong to us. Let's get into the second practice, and the second healing tool, which is the Tho chant. It's kind of like Tho, and it's kind of like toe. It's in the middle. It's Tho. It's kind of like if you ever heard like a Filipino person talking, talk, they talk like this, and they don't pronounce, it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's not tho and it's not toe. It's right in between, tho. So you're placing your tongue right underneath the top of your teeth, tho. This chant doesn't necessarily need to be done over and over again. Okay, I've done it once. That's all I needed to do is one time. But you can perhaps do it more if you'd like, to open up your pineal gland. So as you see in my picture, these eyes are closed. These eyes can see on a spectrum that is very limited to the colors of the rainbow. I'm sure you've seen that before. But this eye has a broader spectrum, which it can see the past, it can get glimpses into the future, it can connect you to people that you love so that you can see what's happening in their energetic field, and it can connect you to the potentiality of what could be. In a previous video, I talked about the law of vibration and attraction, and in that video, I talk about reality. So I just want to reiterate what reality is as far as what it is in context. The word reality comes from the Latin word realis, which means of relating to things. And the suffix ity, I-T-Y, reality, ity is the state of being something, and it's also described as the state of being possible. So your reality is you relating to things that are something, the things around you, the people around you, but it is also you relating to what you believe is possible. And if your pineal gland is calcified and is not operating optimally, your ability to tap into what is possible and to see that anything's possible can be limited. So let's open that up. You'll want to grab a pen and paper at this time, as I will be describing to you exactly what the formula is for opening the third eye. There are lots of videos out there for this chant, this guided chant. I personally did not make one yet. And frankly, I've listened to those guided chants, and I think that it's more effective when you do it on your own without the other person's voice influencing you. And also, you just don't know what their energy is. So it's best to just stay in your own energy when you're doing this. Find a space that you're not going to be interrupted in, where it's quiet and where you can completely focus on this chant and this meditation. Now I have a tip for you here. You can see it's stop using toothpaste with fluoride. And it's so true. I had done this chant and I was still using fluoridated toothpaste, and I was definitely getting more insights. And by that, I mean, I was hearing divine messages. I was seeing divine messages. I was seeing things for people. I was seeing things for myself, but it wasn't super clear. And when I stopped using fluoridic toothpaste, which was told to me by another shaman, that's when things started to get even more clear, and I started to feel a lot more confident in what I was seeing and hearing and all the downloads that were coming in. So on your piece of paper, I want you to jot this down. The first thing that you'll want to do is choose a time of the day where you can meditate, and it has to be the same time every day. I'm looking at you guys, and then I'm also looking at myself, and I'm also looking at the screen, so I'll jump back and forth. Choose a time of the day. Now, I like to choose something that falls in line with the manifesting numbers. If you're familiar with Tesla, those numbers are 3, 6, and 9. In the original class that didn't get filmed, unfortunately, we had a brief discussion on numerology. Now, I'm not an expert on numerology. I didn't go and study it in a formal way. However, I have studied numerology on my own, and I utilize aspects of numerology in my day-to-day life to help me create things that I want to create energy that I want to create, and it's all for the positive. So I like to choose a time that is either 6 a.m., maybe 6:30, 9, 3:33, 3 o'clock, 3:30, 9:30, something like that, where there's a 3 in it, there's a 6 in it, or there's a 9, or there's a combination of a couple of them. Now, why do we choose 3, 6, and 9? Really, really briefly, I'll get into that. So if you are familiar with vortex math, and I'll encourage you to look that up as well, you'll find that when it comes to material creation, you will not find the numbers 3, 6, or 9. When it comes to physical creation, let's talk about that for a second. When you are being created, when your vessel, your body is being created inside your mother's womb, you start off as 1, a single-celled organism, and then you multiply in doubles. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, 16 becomes 32, and so on and so forth. Now, if you were to take 16 and you were to add it down, which is what we would do in numerology, we would add it down to a single number, unless it's 11, we don't necessarily do that. So 1 and 6 equal 7, 3 and 2 equal 5, and so on and so forth. If you were to do that, you would never come across 3, 6, or 9. None of those numbers would ever equate to 3, 6, or 9. However, If you were to take all of the geometric shapes in our known universe, a circle, a square, even really difficult shapes, like there's like a tetrahedra, something of something. If you were to take those shapes and you were to take all the angles in those shapes, for example, the angle of a square is 90 degrees and there's 4 of them, and you were to add that up, that equals 360, 360. So 3 and 6, and when you add those together, it equals 9. Any shape that you take, and we didn't talk about this in the original class, but I wanted to share this with you. If you were to take any shape, it's always going to equal 360 or down to 9. So it always equals 9. So 9 is actually the number of nothing and everything. And 3 and 6 are denominators of 9. So, okay, so there's the reasons why I want you to be able to create anything that you want, because I feel like when you receive the material things in your life that you desire, whether it's a car or clothes or a man or a woman that you're interested in or a house, when you start to get the things that you desire materially, you can sort of grow and expand from that and say, you know, these material things are great, but they're not going to ultimately bring me joy and happiness in this world. What brings me joy and happiness is when I am helping and caring for others and raising the vibration on this planet. And so that's ultimately what I want you to do, is help raise the vibration here on this planet, in our communities. That's why I started the Up Life, and that's what we're here to do today. So first thing, choose a time. It's going to be the same time for 3 days in a row. Okay, 3 days in a row. You'll want to chant the tho at a musical note A. And I'm not a singer, so I'm going to do my best, but it's not too high and it's not too low. So it's not down in the gut and it's not up here in your crown. I like to envision it coming from right here, and it sounds something like the, and you'll want to do it for the duration of your natural breath. So you'll take a deep breath in, just like you would if you were doing Om. But Om comes from down here. Om. It's very low and guttural. This one's not so guttural. You'll do that same time every day, 3 days in a row. You'll chant 6 times in a row. Okay, 6 times for that one setting for 3 stanzas. I'll reiterate, on the first day that you sit down at 3:33 p.m., let's say, you're going to chant tho 6 times. Take a pause, take a breath. You're going to chant it again 6 times. Take a pause, take a breath. Then you're going to do it one more time, 6 times. You're going to do it for 3 stanzas, is what I like to call them. So 3 stanzas of 6 chants. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Same time every day, 3 days in a row, 3 stanzas of 6 out breaths of tho to your natural breath, but you're going to be taking in that deep breath and then exhaling tho, but not in that deep tho. It's like tho. There it is, musical note A, tho. Okay, you don't have to do it in front of people, you know, because they might think you're weird. I know when I'm doing my stuff in front of my family, my husband likes to chuckle. So it is what it is. He's used to it. His mom's a shaman as well. All right, so let's get into the third practice, and that is shamanic journeying.
Really quickly, I just wanted to mention that it's important to pick a shamanic drumming tape or CD or sound from YouTube that really resonates with you. I like to use a drumming that's really simple. It's boom, 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 boom. And the one I have posted in the lecture is the one that I like to use. So check that one out on YouTube, and keep it simple.
What is journeying? Well, it's you in your mind's eye. You're leaving your body and you're going into the upper realm to speak to your spirit guides, your light beings. You're going into the middle realm, perhaps,
Wanted to mention
where we are in 3D. So seeing the earth plane that you're in and leaving yourself in this particular earth plane, the middle realm, where you are tapping into perhaps people that you love. I'll give you an example. I journeyed to the middle realm when my grandfather was passing away. It at the time I was like, I need to talk to him, and so I journeyed to the middle. The middle realm was just intuitively just came to me. I knew that it existed already, but I didn't think about which realm I'm going to go to talk to him. It made sense that I needed to speak to him because his body was laying there and I needed to speak to him. And he was not necessarily in his body, but he wasn't up or in the animal realm either. So the spirit animal realm. So it was like, this is where I need to go. So when I went on the journey to speak to my grandfather, I did my grounding, my protection. I took a deep breath, and I imagined, and closing my eyes, I imagined that I was there with him in the hospital room, just as I was physically in real time, real life. But I was tapping into his energy, and I was asking him and his spirit, his soul, what did he want to do? And so that was very much a middle realm journey. I wasn't going to speak to my spirit guides and I wasn't going to speak to my spirit animals. I was specifically going to speak to him in this realm that we're already in, but in a space where, again, anything's possible and you can tap into different levels of reality that these eyes can't see. Only this one can, right? And in which, when you tap into that realm with this eye, you can start to hear and get the visuals for those things that you want to come through. So it was good. It was a good, it gave me confidence in knowing that he was ready to go. And so this can be useful for those times. Again, this is for healing. This is not to scare you or anything. This is not to make you, I'm not encouraging you to tap into energy that is not beneficial for you. Absolutely not. I do not want you to go and just start just tapping into people's energies. You know, it could be your friend, it could be somebody that you love, but you really be mindful when you're doing that. Like the Ouija board, for example, that's a really powerful tool. I don't play with the Ouija board. There's too many things that you could tap into that aren't for your highest benefit. And this is similar to that, only when we're doing this, we are setting our intention. We're creating sacred space and we're doing it for purposes of healing. So we're not playing a game here. It's not the Ouija board, although it operates in similar ways. I would say the Ouija board is of lower vibration, and give it up if that's something that you use to tap into energy. It's not going to be your highest source of information, I'll tell you that. Unless somehow you configured a way to utilize it for that. But your body, your vessel, was created with this antenna already. It's called your pineal gland. So let's open it up and let's use that which we were born with to tap into those energies. Okay, more on shamanic journeying. The majority of the time when I journey, I'm not necessarily going into the middle realm to speak with people I love who are either alive or passing on. I don't usually do that. I'll maybe perhaps to send loving energy, like healing energy to people that I know are going through it. I'll do it for that reason. But most of the time when I journey, I go to my spirit guides to receive divine messages and clarity on issues that I'm having in my life, or I go to the animal spirit realm to tap in with my spirit animal to get more of a metaphorical journey in what is going to happen, or to get an idea of what the energies are looking like. And that's more of like a metaphor. They'll take you on a journey that you won't necessarily understand right away. And sometimes you will, but sometimes you're like, okay, this is a little abstract. It's a bit more abstract. So let's first talk about when you are going to journey up to the upper realms, and what does that look like and how does that begin? So again, you're sitting comfortably, laying comfortably, you're grounding yourself in present time. You're getting into that meditative space, okay? Again, if you can't meditate, this is not the right time to do this. So go practice meditating. Use my video to help you get into that space, and then do this. Once you're in that meditative space, what you'll do is, in your mind's eye, you're going to imagine that you're floating up. The way I do it is I float up out of my body, and I imagine myself going through the layers of the atmosphere and up into space, and I can see and feel the layers that I'm passing. Sometimes I will be going so fast and I won't be grounded, and I'll just be going and going and going, and I'll start to feel like I'm spinning. So that's why it's important to do those grounding practices, the pyramid of protection, the net of light, or just getting yourself grounded with that grounding cord. It's important to do that because when I haven't done that, I've felt like I'm just spinning and I'm not ever going to get to my highest source of information, my spirit guides. Okay, so you can imagine yourself, some people I've heard imagine themselves stepping into an elevator, pressing a button, which takes them up. I think that's cool too. It's however you want to do it. I imagine like me going up this chute of light, or this beam of light that just like sucks me up, kind of like an alien spaceship, and just like takes me to my highest source of information. Now, as I'm going up, I'm constantly repeating to myself, please guide me to my spirit guides, my highest source of information, my light beings, so that I may gain clarity, comfort, and the knowledge that I seek. Something along those lines is what I usually say when I go up. Now, when I finally get there, and eventually you will get to a space where you feel comfortable, you feel loved, and it feels safe. Do not stop anywhere that does not feel comfortable, loving, and safe. So you'll know when you're there, it'll feel comfortable, loving, and safe. For me, I meet with my spirit guide, who is of a masculine energy. He is the only one that's of a masculine energy, and he is the only one who speaks to me. I don't know what will be for you guys. It will be different for you. It will be different for you people. For any one of you who tries this, my healers, my light beings, or my light workers, my shamans that are out there. I'm trying not to use the word guys because I know it can be so, it's very dualistic. It's one end of the spectrum. So try to be more inclusive with my language. So when I go up there, I'm speaking to one of my spirit guides. He is of a masculine energy. He is the only one who gives me the messages that I seek. It's normally things that I kind of know, but like some reason I don't have like the courage to tell myself, or perhaps I'm doubting it. And then when he speaks it to me, it's like, yeah, you're right. Like you're absolutely right. That's exactly it, and it makes sense. It brings me clarity. It brings me comfort. It brings me joy. It brings me peace. That's how I know it's of my highest source of information, because of those emotions. Those are higher vibrational emotions. I just fidget with my hair a lot, so sorry. Now, I do have other spirit guides that are there, and they're of feminine energy, and there are more of them, the feminine energy, than there are of the masculine. And the feminine energies, they don't ever speak, but they are the ones who endow me with the different resources that I need. So whether it's strength, or whether it's patience, or whether it's a healing of trauma, whether it's a cleansing that I need, they usually come after I've received my messages, sometimes they'll come around me and I'll feel like they're encircling me. And in my mind's eye, I will see, even though they are light beings and they are not necessarily made up of solid, I can't see what they're made of. I get a sense that they're there. It's just all light and bright. And there's also like all the colors of the rainbow, but there's like, it's also just light as well. It's hard to explain, but it's like iridescent. So they'll encircle me, and in my mind's eye, I can see that, and I can feel them, and I can feel their energy uplifting me. And there'll be times where I'll go and journey, and I'll be in such a state where I'll just be very low, and I'll need that uplifting. And I'll see myself in my mind's eye curled up like a little girl, and my feminine guides will surround me and give me what it is I need. So it'll be different for you. But those are the things I want you to pay attention to is, does it uplift you? Does it make you feel clarity, comforted, loved, peaceful, joyful, grateful? Those are all very high vibrational things. And those are what your spirit guides want to instill in you. They want to give you that strength and that patience and that persistence and that clarity that you so seek. And they want you to ask for that as well, because it's not something that, it's free will. It's not something they can just give you if you're not asking for it. And if you're not open to receiving, it's going to be impossible for you to receive it. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind as well. Okay, let me take a sip of coffee because I'm feeling it. All right. Let's talk about going into the lower realms to talk to your spirit guides. If you've never journeyed before, I would say this is the best place to begin, is going to see your spirit animal. So same process, you get yourself into the gap and close your eyes. And then in your mind's eye, you envision a hole in the earth. I like to envision grass, and then I envision like a rabbit hole in the earth, just like Alice in Wonderland, which is one of my favorite movies, by the way, because I do think she went into, it's created by Lewis Carroll, who did a lot of psychedelic drugs and he did a lot of drugs. So he tapped into different realms of reality and then wrote Alice in Wonderland. So I like to envision it as like this rabbit hole, and I go into the rabbit hole and I'm falling and I'm falling and I'm falling until I get to the place where I'm intentionally going, which is to speak to my spirit guides, my spirit animal. And so again, if you haven't grounded yourself, sometimes you're just falling and falling and falling, and then you feel like you're spinning. And I've gotten nauseous from that feeling before, where I've had to open my eyes and like, okay, I have to come back to my body because I didn't properly ground myself, and I'm just like spinning out of control, and I'm never getting to the place where I need to be, where I want to be. So once you're done kind of falling down that hole, you'll come to a space. And the first time that I ever did this, I got to the space very quickly. And I call upon my spirit animal to show itself to me. It can be like I have a desire to speak with my spirit animal, the spirit animal that is of the most divine energy, the most loving energy. And I call upon you now to show yourself to me so that I may be guided. I say this in my mind's eye, or I say it out loud, and then something will appear. Okay, you'll have that animal show itself to you. And the first time I did this, I first saw like a wolf face, but the face of the wolf did not comfort me. It was like, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. But it didn't comfort me. It didn't make me feel any type of cozy, comforting, peaceful vibrations. And so listen to your body and listen to yourself when you see these things. So I said, no, that's probably not it. And then I saw a rabbit, and the rabbit had a really I didn't like the face of the rabbit. I didn't like the rabbit at all. The teeth were too sharp. It was too big. It was like brown, but it was just like dirty looking. So I didn't like it. So I was like, no, that's not it. Then this wolf, another wolf, showed its face to me, and it was very comforting and soft, and it felt gentle, and it felt like this was the one. It felt like this was the one. So that's what you want to notice and pay attention to, is like, what do you feel when you see these things? In any of the visions that you start to get, because after you do this third chant, you'll probably start to get visions. When you talk to people, you'll probably get visions and little hits and stuff. Pay attention to what it feels like for you. How does it make you feel? Okay, if it makes you feel up here, yeah, that feels good. I feel good. I feel really good. Okay, go with it. If it doesn't, if you're unsure, just like, I'm not sure, until you feel like, okay, I think this is the one. And then when you see your spirit animal, it will either jump right into a journey, like, and it'll say, follow me or something like that, and it'll take you on a journey. Or you might have to prompt it and say, I'm here for clarity in this avenue of my life. Can you give me clarity on this? What does the energy of this look like? If I were to pursue this career or this relationship, what does that look like? And then having a piece of paper and a pen ready to jot down what you see at the end. Follow your spirit animal. Don't question it. Just be open to accepting what's coming in, again, receiving, right? You've already grounded yourself. You've already given yourself that protective layer. So you can have confidence in just allowing yourself to receive the messages that are coming through. It might not make sense to you right then and there. It might be, like for me, I was first taken, the very first time I ever journeyed. My wolf, when it finally appeared, said, follow me. And I said, all right. And then it was like running through this like forest. Now, when I got there, it was like dark and you can make out trees. It's very different from the light realm. It's like dark. It's all like pitch black for me. And I can make trees out, and it's not scary or anything, but it's just like dark. And I can make like trees out and stuff. And I know that I'm like in a forest. That's usually the setting that I'm in. And it's like this dark forest, and it's not scary at all. But I followed my wolf, and it was, running and running and running and running. And then as I'm running, I'm turning into a squirrel. No, excuse me. He turns into a squirrel, and then he climbs a tree. And then I turn into a squirrel, and I climb a tree, and I follow, and we're jumping from tree to tree. And so you might see some things like that are really abstract, because when I was seeing that and when I was going through it in my own very first time journeying, I was like, what is going on? I don't understand this at all. But I just allow it, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to follow, and I'm going to take notice of the things that catch your third eye while you're on that journey. And then when you come out of it, you write it all down. You write down everything that you felt. What emotions did you feel? What images did you see? Just write everything down. What did you do in that journey? And just perhaps save it for later if it still doesn't make sense to you. Because oftentimes when you see your spirit animal, they're giving you like a glimpse into the future, and it won't make sense until the future arrives and it's the present. And then you're like, oh my God, that's what that was about. I was over here chasing things and blah, 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 blah. And, it made complete sense to me later on what it was about. I had, crocodiles or alligators. I don't know, crocodiles or alligators, what they were, but they took me on a journey through the water, and, I heard things like, these are your instructors. And okay, crocodiles are my instructors. And so sometimes you can't make sense of it right then and there. But then later, as life unfolds for you, you're like, oh my God, these are my crocodiles, these two people right here. So it's very symbolic. Okay. So if it's difficult for you to see, I don't want you to give up. I want you to keep practicing, because this work is so important. It's a healing practice, okay? And it's so important, not only for you individually to heal, and that's what I really desire. I desire for each of us to heal individually, so that eventually we'll have the capacity and the love within us and the energy within us to go out into the world and create more of that energy. And that's what I'm doing here. That's what I hope to be doing for the rest of my life, is just to create more of that loving, healing energy. And make no mistake, I'm not perfect. Although I've been practicing this for over 10 years now, because I'll be 33 this year. Yeah. It's the trauma that I sustained as a child doesn't necessarily get healed for, over a couple of years or over a couple of times of doing. Some of the traumas that maybe you all have experienced are so traumatizing that it will take years. And okay, so now I'm in my going on 11th year of doing my healing practices in a consistent manner. And there are still things that trigger my trauma. And I am still coming upon insights that, just recently, I've released so much of that trauma. It's been such a huge blessing. And maybe you all are feeling it too, because this is a time, there's Pluto is trined or squared with Jupiter. I don't know all that, but I know something is going on with the planets that's helping facilitate this great, vast healing on this planet. And so you might be feeling it individually, and you might be releasing a lot. In this month of November, you might want to feel like you want to get isolated a little bit so that this trauma that you are healing doesn't go and spill onto other people and create more karma for you. You know what I mean? Like yelling and screaming and just blaming and projecting. We don't want to do that when we're healing. So if we feel like that's a potentiality for us, let's go and isolate. I know I need that, because when my trauma it's not a happy story. But I don't want that to spill out onto others. So I know to take my time, and I know to communicate with the people that I love and who love me and who want to see me healing. I tell them, I'm just going through some healing right now. I'm sorry that I seem so off, and it's not you. I'm going in a process right now. And, my husband, who is an amazing, amazing person himself, who has all these abilities that he doesn't necessarily boast about. He doesn't really tap into them, but he does at the same time. His mother is a shaman, so he kind of almost he takes it for granted, his abilities. So he's very understanding in that regard. And I would say that if you're telling, your support system that this is what you need, and it rubs them the wrong way, maybe they have some healing to do. And so don't take it personally. Don't be like, oh, they don't want to support me and they don't love me. They love you. I'm sure they love you. It could be that they just don't have the capacity to understand what it is you're going through. And so maybe informing them more in writing it down for me is helpful, because it can't get interrupted. For one, I hate being interrupted in the middle of a very meaningful story. So I like to write it down, and that's what I'll do. I'll just give them a letter or a text and say, this is what's going on. It's not about you. It's about me. It's about me healing my trauma. And if you'd like to support me, here are some ways in which I can receive this specific level of support at this time. And if you don't have the capacity to do that without your own trauma coming up, then maybe just let me be for now and I'll come back. Okay. All right. I wish that you all were here with me. I really loved your energy during the live session, because your questions were so helpful to me. Some of the questions I thought up for this is, how will I know if what I'm seeing is real? Just don't question it. Trust it. Listen to it, see it, accept it, then write it down. And if it's something that doesn't make you feel vibrationally uplifted, then say, you know what? I don't accept that. I just don't accept it as being part of my reality. And I want to cleanse it. And can you please guide me on cleansing that energy? And then receiving the messages there. Perhaps this is something that, I don't know, what I'm getting is for some of you, perhaps you have to look at some of the dark aspects in order to heal them. And so you might not want to, but your guides might be telling you that you have to see it in order to heal it. You can't just ignore it and avoid it and then expect it to heal. That's not how it goes. It's kind of like in our society today, we can't just ignore racism and misogyny. We have to see it. People have to present it outward. It has to be exposed in order for us to heal it. So in a kind of, effed up weird way, it was kind of a blessing. Some of the political shifts that were made in the last 4 years. I'm not one side or the other. So I don't want you to think that I'm red or blue. I'm purple. Okay. Divine energy. But the way I see it is some of the things that have happened and unfolded in the last few years are actually blessings, even though they're violent and ugly and we don't want to look at them. We have to look at them so that they can be healed, because we're the ones who are going to facilitate the healing, aren't we? We are going to facilitate that healing for our society, but we have to look at it. And you know what? I do want to say this. We can't look at it we can be angry about it and we can be upset with it. But when we go to heal it, anger and hate and frustration isn't going to help us heal those things. It's going to be love. So, and as you know, Dr. Martin Luther King said that. So it's going to be love that helps heal these things. All right. I hope that I explain these things to you as clearly as I possibly can. I know that we're not actively practicing them together, but at least this will give you a foundation for what you'll be doing on your own. And then in the future, when things open up, I will be hosting live shamanic events where we will do this together and we'll practice them together. Through the internet, we can do like a virtual class and practice it together, but there's something about being in each other's spaces, in the circle, in physical reality, that makes it that much more powerful and meaningful, at least for me. So I will wait until those moments arise in where we will really dive deep and practice them together and really cultivate these skills together. And I'll help guide you in that. But I'll wait until we can get into in-person classes for that. And maybe we're ready now, and so maybe we just need to hold some small groups. Maybe we'll figure it out. So if that's something that you're interested in doing in the near future, especially this winter, because I think it's important to do these types of practices in the fall when the light has lessened, so we can go and find the light within us. So if you're interested in that, please leave me a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe if this resonated with you. This might help others that you know, and it might help somebody out there that you know is struggling. So please like, share, and subscribe, and send it to people who you know are interested in this. It is my pleasure, and it is my duty on this earth to help us all heal this, because I know that me going through this isn't for no reason at all. I know that me going through my own healing process is what's informing me so that I can help guide you guys through this. I do feel like I've healed so much. I do feel like there's still a little bit there, and that's okay. But I want to get you to a space in which is filled with gratitude and joy, the space that I find myself in constantly. I want to help you guys get there, because I used to suffer from depression and anxiety myself, and I know what it's like. I know what it's like to wake up and to not even want to get out of bed because you just feel like you have no purpose. And I want you to get to a space where you feel like you have purpose and meaning in your life. And frankly, I've gotten myself there, from that space of I don't even want to get out of bed. What's the point? To I have to get out of bed because I have a huge purpose in this world, and I'm so excited about my purpose that I can't even stay in bed right now. I got shit to do. Okay. If you're interested in really cultivating and going through what I like to call a mystery school, my mystery school teachings, where I help you cultivate all of these tools and more, you'll learn a little bit more history about some of the mystery school teachings and esoteric and ancient methods that are out there, and really master the healing arts. If you're interested in that, I encourage you to enroll into my 7-week course. It's technically 8 weeks because we do a end of the course retreat. The one in January is discounted because it does not include a retreat, and you will not become certified. The certification is emotional intelligence, stress reduction, and management. So the certification will begin in April. It's a much more rigorous course to get certified in emotional intelligence, stress reduction, and management, which is what the course is. So it's not a mystery school course. I've had to make it more mainstream in order for people to understand truly what we'll be doing. And also, what I'd like to do is tap into people who are supervisors, managers, entrepreneurs, leaders of companies, because they truly are making a difference in our society. And if you're a leader in your community, this is for you. This program is definitely for you. If you aspire to be a leader in your community, this program is for you. Now, the one that begins January is simply just the course that you go through without the retreat because of things going on, without the retreat and without the certification. You can, of course, petition to become certified for the January series. You will have a lot of extra work to do than perhaps the other people who join the course, but you can be certified if you do the extra assignments that are required for certification. But the actual certification course begins in April. So if you're interested in this, go ahead and check it out. It's at my website, www.theuplife.com/courses. All of the information will be in the next link right here. There we go. So not only will you be instructed and taught different tools that are ancient and scientifically proven to help you reduce stress and manage those lower vibrational emotions, anger, frustration, hate, resentment, sadness, the traumas that come up, but you will become more emotionally intelligent. Now, why is this course being brought up in a shamanic healing tools, right? But it's talking about emotional intelligence. Well, they go hand in hand. In order to be emotionally intelligent, you have to understand where your emotions are coming from, why they're coming up, and what to do with them. Okay. And we just talked about our emotions and how to utilize our emotions in these shamanic healing tools. We're paying attention to our emotions and we're learning what to do with them, aren't we? So in that process, we're becoming emotionally intelligent. So this is what we'll be doing in this course, but we'll be utilizing yoga and other ancient esoteric methods and philosophies to gain emotional intelligence. So I hope that's clear. I hope that you join me, and I hope that I see your faces again, all of you who joined me live for this session. And I also, again, want to just thank you for your patience. It's been a busy week. Things are getting done, you guys, you beautiful people, you guys. Things are getting done, you beautiful people. It's all unfolding, and you might have a moment this month which will bring you an opportunity to release. It may be in tarot, we call it a tower moment where things fall apart and dissolve. So it may be a breakup, but it could also be a breakthrough. It doesn't have to be a devastating, dissolving, destructive breakdown. It could be a beautiful dissolving that's easy and smooth, and it could be a beautiful breakup that's easy and smooth, and it could be an amazing breakthrough. So I hope that this has given you something to look forward to as far as your own personal future is concerned, and your connection to the Most High, the Most Divine, whatever it is you believe in, whether it's your highest source of information, your highest self, or whether it's God or whatever you want to call it. For me, it's source energy, it's divine energy, and it's the most loving place in the universe that I tap into. Okay, my beautiful people, I will leave you now. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Holla, I'll see you in the next webinar. I'll be doing this same webinar again, December 4th, 10 a.m. You can join me for a live session. We'll practice a bit more. You can ask me your questions then, or you can shoot me an email. It's uplife916@gmail.com or info@theuplife.com. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. So first,